Welcome to Sacred Magic. Violet is on a quest to bring sacredness back into our everyday experiences. Anyone can have an extraordinary life when they are able to tap into their sacred magic within. Violet and her guests will be sharing their divine passions, inspirations, and stories of connecting with their sacred magic. We are so happy you have joined us today. Let's get started with your host, the magical creator of Discover Your Spiritual Gifts, Vialet Rayne.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Sacred Magic Podcast. I'm Vialet Rayne, your host. I'm so glad that you can join us today. My guest today is Cathy Jones. Cathy Jones is a biodynamic craniosacral therapist. She's always been interested in health, wellness, and all things natural. She had spent her entire career, 25 plus years, in the health and wellness industry. Cathy had a surprising introduction to biodynamic craniosacral therapy, say that 5 times quick, as well as the deep wisdom in all of our bodies when she was doing scalp massage with a client. And Cathy's hands just started to move like the bumpers on a pinball machine. Within 60 seconds, a long-time cranial pattern spontaneously released. And you can see her full story on her website. Welcome, Miss Cathy, to the show. So happy to have you here.
Hello, so happy to be here. Exciting.
We had some technical difficulty today, so I am hearing her voice through my phone because we couldn't get the audio to play on the video. So if there's a little bit of a delay, you'll understand what is going on because we've got all these technology working to make this happen today. So I'm excited to have you on the show, Cathy. Talk a little bit about how you got to doing some of the work that you did besides the massage on the scalp. What led you to be really interested in health and wellness?
It's so funny. The first thought, I'm like, God, I was that little kid. This might sound weird. I always was kind of like a nurturer, or just always, like, I was that kid that, like, wanted to tickle backs when it was movie time in elementary school with my friends, And then, I'd always put like these little warm, fuzzy things at everyone's table on Thanksgiving when I was a kid. Like, I just always liked that you could do something and it helps someone feel better. I think that's part of my humor a little bit too. Sometimes good, sometimes not. But yeah, I've just always really gravitated to it. And I don't know, even when doing massage therapy, honestly, I got my massage therapy license originally so I could move back to Crested Butte and make $50 an hour, which honestly wasn't a very lofty goal for someone who graduated with honors from college. But at the time, I was like, sweet. But then I just started having so many amazing experiences in all these different realms, like with animals and with people, babies. I mean, I have so many cool stories of things that have happened over these years that I'm just like, wow, like, our bodies are incredible. And then that thing with my aunt, it was my aunt actually that I was working on. And that blew my mind. And so I was actually studying neuroanatomy. And by the way, you have to cut me off anytime. I'm a storyteller too, and I ramble. So if I've already answered your question and you're like, okay, wrap it up, just let me know. Because I'll forget. I'll start on something else. But no, I was in a neuroanatomy class at the time, learning neuromuscular massage therapy and thinking it was really cool. And I had this brilliant professor, and in front of the whole class, because this was a cool story and I wanted everyone to hear it. And I was like, and this happened, and then this, and everyone's like at the edge of their seat. And my professor's like, that's really cool. Let me know when you find out what happens. And I was like, and the girl behind me goes, check out craniosacral. I think that's what you're doing. And I just started going to different people who do cranial. I took one module of Ledger Craniosacral, which is CST. And so the B in front of the tongue twister of my acronym, it's biodynamic. And I could explain the difference of those, or be quiet and let you ask.
No, I think it's very interesting. We've never had anybody on the show that did craniosacral, and I've had a session in my entire career. So I would love to understand, what is craniosacral and what is the difference in craniosacral and biodynamic craniosacral?
So I think, and I can speak to my experiences with my training and then what I've learned, because I'm a teacher assistant now with a friend that I went through my original cranial training with like 20 years ago. I think we graduated in 2003. And she owns a school now in Lakewood that teaches specifically biodynamic cranial. So I'm now teacher assisting at her school. So I've really deepened in my understanding of what is biodynamic. And so my experience when I took the Upledger CST Module 1 training was, to me, it felt very regimented. It was like, we're going to learn a protocol. And I get why they did this protocol. I didn't have a good experience with my teacher, and it just felt very Western, you know. And I didn't land in it, because by that point, my hands, I mean, I had been doing massage already for a few years. And so my hands were already doing things that I was like, yeah, no, I can't do a protocol. That does not work for me. So somehow I found John and Anna Chitty up in Boulder, and I looked at other programs, but this one was the Colorado School of Energy Studies. And so the difference in my mind between CST and BCST is biodynamic is more relational, in that I'm not working on you, I'm working with you. So, and I'm not saying CST people do this either, but like, we're looking at your body, and we're even looking at the places that we're conditioned to believe or that we think are broken, or, I mean, sometimes it feels that way because they hurt. But we're looking at it as, that's really brilliant, because it's your body's way of communicating what it needs. That's probably actually craniosacral across the board. We're all doing that. But the difference is you might go to someone who does CST, and you're going to walk in and you're going to lay down on their table, and they're going to start working on you, and they're going to be sitting here like, you know, maybe unless you get like more upper level. When you do BCST, someone comes in my office, and I want to know where they're at emotionally. I want to know where their nervous system is at. I want to know what's going on with them. So they might sit in a chair, they might sit on my table, but I talk to them first, and it's like they're a field, I'm a field, and we become a field. And there becomes a point in energy or any relational field where you can feel the energy kind of settle. And that's what we call like a holistic shift. And we don't usually put our hands on someone. I can feel it happening with us, actually. The energy is really dropping and widening. Can you feel that?
Uh-huh.
And so I don't even put my hands on somebody until I feel that. Because to me, I'm not just working with symptoms, right? I want to make sure that their nervous system can regulate. I want to make sure that they feel safe enough to do this type of work. And when you come into relationship with somebody and they're not just like a body on your table, some deep stuff can come up for healing. Old trauma, even like anger, right? Like if you get rear-ended or you fell rock climbing because your friend forgot to hold the rope correctly or something, there might be some anger in there that never got to be expressed, you know? Who knows what's going to come up? But you're more likely to create a space for that when you come into relationship with someone.
I love that. I love that.
And a good analogy or like image for those of you that are visual is I look at it like we all come in with a blueprint, right? And then our experiences create an imprint. So that could be trauma, emotional, physical, whatever. And so like if you look at a lake, the water is all the health and wellness and wisdom that we have access to. It's that place that told these cells to divide before a brain was ever in the picture, right? That's the water. And then the boats are like the imprints, the trauma, the stories, the things that have happened, right? A CST will be working with the boats. A BCST is going to look at those boats. I see those boats. I see them. And now I'm going to widen my view and hold the whole of you, including all that wealth, all that water. And man, when the body's like, I'm not broken. I do have help. Someone's listening. Like stuff can just start unwinding on its own. It's amazing. And that's what happened with my aunt, was because I wasn't like, I don't know, I just trusted. I was like, ooh, I was curious. I didn't have any judgment about it. And I was like, well, something amazing's happening. I'm going to see what happens. And right in that moment, I was shown like, wow, there's something way more brilliant going on than what I'm going to figure out here. So in my mind, people aren't puzzles anymore.
I love that. You're doing meditations at the center, and this statement, your body isn't broken, it's brilliant, right? Talk to us about that for people that are listening, and what's this meditation class that you're going to be offering?
Well, I came up with that title because I have worked for a lot of years with pain. I've worked with a lot of stuff, like brain injuries, pain, trauma, and it's oh my God, I just totally dropped my brain. Tell me that again.
Your title that you like to use, your body isn't broken, it's brilliant, right? So share a little bit about what you mean about that for people that might be listening and they feel like they're broken.
So I think a lot of people come in feeling crappy, feeling like they are a mess, like they don't know what to do, like they are overwhelmed, right? And I think that our society, there's a lot of stuff that's telling us we're not enough. We need something else, you know, you got to have this or whatever. And we've never really been taught about that lake, right? That huge well of health and wellness that we have access to. And so I think people come in with symptoms, and to me, that's language. It's the body saying, hey, I want you to notice something. But we haven't really been taught that. We've been taught, take a pill, do this, do that, move on, get through it. And it's kind of like throwing the baby out with the bathwater, you know. Our bodies really are brilliant. They really like to be listened to. There's more going on than just what's up here. and people are more connected to their bodies too. Like, I'm going to grab something really quick because I want to show you.
Okay.
Okay, so I love props. So craniosacral can feel like energy work. It's magical, but ideally one of the things we're doing is we have all these places where our skull allows for movements. There's sutures, and so we're holding and like sometimes trying to just see what's happening here and like creating space and stuff like that. And oh my God, I totally forgot why I grabbed this. I feel like a mad scientist today. I'm like, I have this idea. But, you know, we have kind of like that blueprint where we can follow, where our body, we can see. So I know where I was going with this. And now I have another idea too. So all of our bones move individually. It's almost like a jellyfish where it's almost like they're breathing. It's called primary respiration. And then our actual breathing air, we actually call that secondary respiration. So the bones move individually, but then they move in relation to other bones. So like my parietal bones are actually kind of doing this all day long.
So those listening, she's talking about the bones in our head move, and there are different types of sections of bones that move differently within our skull and our head, and so they work together.
Yes, and so blueprint is you're going to feel symmetry, coherence, ease, fluidity, right? Imprint is you're going to feel like, well, I'm doing the best I can over here, you know? And so we look at this as like, oh, that's so bad. But really, it's pretty amazing that someone, you know, in their 50s, 60s, 70s can go a whole lifetime with this injury, that trauma, that injury, that experience. And life is pretty intense these days. Like, we carry a lot of crap with us. And because of our tech, right, it never turns off. And so we really, our nervous systems are always kind of like, you know. And so that's another thing with cranial is we're working to bring the nervous system down out of like either fight or flight or sympathetic or parasympathetic, you know. So much I can say. But so the body is usually just trying to communicate, like, this is what I need, or this is how I need to be heard. And to me, it's amazing, excuse me, that people can carry years and years and years worth of stuff, and the body still remains mobile. It still continues to live. It still continues to contribute, you know. That's really brilliant. And I think it's a paradigm shift. Like, we got to change the way we see things.
I love that. I love that.
I've seen some crazy, and like people will come in because maybe they have a pain or something like that. And then some story from their life will come up that they were not expecting at all. Like, whoa, that came out of nowhere. I was not expecting to deal with it, but it'll come up and they'll have tears or they'll have clarity or their body will resolve in some way. And then it's like, whoa, I don't have to carry that anymore. Like, wow, there's more of me available to be present to the world because I'm not holding that piece and this piece and that, you know.
I love that. I love that. So, Cathy, talk to us a little bit about, I love all these descriptions, but what are some things that you offer? And with your meditation class, what type of meditation is that?
So I'm not doing any of the like, and, you know, for me, I want people to be as comfortable as possible. And I want my meditations to kind of be something that shows people the wellness in their body in some way. And I also want to bring awareness to their body. Like, part of the problem with our culture is everything is so go, go, go that we don't stop and take the time to notice that we're in overwhelm, or that this is tight and that is tight. And so, I mean, there are plenty of times where I lay on my massage table and I just tune in, and I can get like my sinuses to open and drain. Like, things will start to settle, my nervous system will settle. And so that's what I want to do with the meditation, is I want to help people have awareness about different states in their body. Like, I'm kind of thinking this next time maybe about doing, just noticing how we all have this like impetus in us, right? Like, oh, I got to look at my phone again for the fifth time, even though there's nothing new on it. And, oh, what should I be doing? Like, I feel like there's something, and there's something driving that. That's some type of conditioning that's driving that. And so part of healing that is the awareness of like, oh, I have this like going all the time. And if I can just sit with that, sometimes if you can just sit in meditation with something, the energy can actually dissipate a little bit if you can be with something instead of always running away from it. And then it's going to just get louder because it wants to be noticed, Does that make sense?
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And I think, we're all plugged in all the time, and we're not as much aware that we should be, that having these phones as anchors to us, and our computers and our emails and communication and all that constantly going on all the time, has an energetic force that really impacts our health and wellness when we can just sit. And I love that Cathy's talking about, because most people, when they think of meditation, they think of humming Om for 25-30 minutes and quiet. And meditation can be lots of things. It can be just sitting still for a moment and shutting all the sounds and unplugging and disconnecting and just being in the moment. Meditation can be walking in nature. Meditation can be coloring, painting, and turning everything off and just giving your mind something to focus on so that you can get the messages that you need for your best and highest good. I love all those aspects. And we will have Cathy's website throughout this video, because she also does sessions here in Colorado, in Denver. So if you're in the area, so talk to us a little bit about some of the sessions that you offer on one-on-ones.
Well, so I've done a lot of things over the years. I've worked with kids on the spectrum. I've worked with babies and mamas. I've worked with traumatic brain injury and concussion, whiplash, all of that, pain. And this work is really, really good for bringing down pain levels. That's another thing. I worked for a while with a PT, and we worked almost specifically on thoracic outlet syndrome, which is like compression or injury to the nerves along the neck and the arm. And she would come in sometimes from doing nerve exercises, and they would overdo it, or she would overdo it, and they would be in pain. And she'd be like, do that thing. And it would always bring the pain levels down about 3 numbers, which is major if you're in nerve pain. So, but more lately, what I'm really focusing on, because this work is so relational, is working with people who are in states of overwhelm, anxiety, a lot of times unintentionally, because this work is relational, trauma pieces will come up. So I like to work with people around just recognizing conditioning and what's real. And so maybe you're asking like what a session looks like.
Or just what you offer. It's helpful to understand, hey, if I have pain, or if I have trauma, or if I feel overwhelmed or anxiety, you have something that can help me. And
Yeah.
so is all of your sessions in person? Do you do some virtually, or is everything in person?
I've done actually in virtually because I've worked with people out of state before too.
Uh-huh.
And I also do like sound healing, and I've done the meditations virtually and stuff. And just like when we were talking earlier and I was talking about that holistic shift and how you kind of felt that,
Mm-hmm.
I think you can very much work like this way with somebody because the work is so relational.
Mm-hmm.
And because, you know, we really are way more connected energetically, and we know that more now than we did before. So, but ideally, typically, people are coming into my office and they're going to sit down and we're going to talk for a smidge, and I'm just going to get a sense of what's happening. And then they'll get on the table, and I usually do 90 and 60-minute sessions. I like doing 90 because it gives more space for more to happen, and it's awesome, but it's whatever people want. And because I started out as a massage therapist and I was a neck specialist, and I have been seeing mostly women because I had been working out of my house, but now I have office space. So, and a lot of women carry tension in their neck and their jaw. And so sometimes I'll do massage therapy. Sometimes I'll do intraoral. Sometimes I'll do a blend. If I do sessions in my home, I have sound healing. Like I have a huge gong and different things. So I just kind of try to stay open. And if I hear something like seed pods in my head, I might get out my seed pods and like rattle them over them or something. But usually it's just going to be me doing cranial and me kind of getting a sense of how is the body expressing movement and where's the nervous system at, and and yeah.
I love that. I love that. Yeah, no, that answers my question totally. Cathy, thank you so much for being on the show today and sharing your brilliance with us. I really appreciate that.
Thank you. Yeah, this work is magic. It's honestly hard to talk about what it's good for because, in my opinion, it's good for everything because it's like defragging the motherboard of a computer. You know what I mean? It's like if you can work to settle the nervous system, which is what controls the entire body, it's pretty cool.
It is.
That can happen. Yeah.
I love that. I love that. Well, those watching or listening, thank you so much for taking the time. Please like, comment, and follow us on your favorite platforms. We'd love to see you in our future shows. So please let us know how you're enjoying this. And as always, we hope that you have a sacred and magical week. Thanks again. And I hope to see you really soon.
Thank you so much, Violet.
Thank you.